once bustling Delta hub of trade and commerce that now wore the familiar faded expression of days gone by. His eyes changed when the van pulled into the dirt driveway that led to a 2-story home. A white antebellum with a porch stretching across the front on the bottom and top floors, flaking paint on the sun side, and vines hanging in baskets along the porch with their twisted and green trails swaying in the wind. A woman sat in a rocker, and she rose to meet them. She wore work gloves, and she pulled them off and tossed them on the ground as she approached the van, as if readying herself for whatever may be climbing out. She took him to his upstairs room and opened the dresser drawers to show him where he could put his things, and he told her there was no use. "I won't be here long enough to mess up the covers on the bed." "Sure you will," she answered. "No, I won't," he said, a 12-year-old certain of the workings of the world. "Are you going to run away?" "I don't know. Are you?" "Because unless you run away, this is where you live now." "So you think." "So I know," she said. "You don't know nothing," he said, and he walked out of the bedroom and down the stairs and out into the backyard. She stood at the window and watched him between the slit in the curtains. He did not stop in the backyard, but crossed it and walked out onto the dirt road that ran on and on between the rows of cotton. The sun high, and a short shadow followed him. She did not chase. She stood in the window and watched until he was nearly out of sight, and she was one step toward the door to run after him when he stopped. A tiny figure in the distance. He stopped and stayed in the same spot for several more minutes, and she could not know that he was talking to himself, telling himself, "I don't want to do this no more. I don't know why I can't have somebody." With the space between them, she could not have noticed that he looked back at the big house and said, "That place right there don't want me neither, and that woman can't catch me. I'm going to take off running, and she won't never catch me. Won't nobody. I don't want to do this shit no more." She could not have heard him or seen him with any detail, but she waited, only could see that he had stopped. She whispered a prayer without moving her lips, as if even the slightest flutter would spook the boy and send him fleeing on furious and reckless feet. He stood still, talking to himself, and she stood still, whispering a quiet and motionless prayer. And then, from the distant sky, a hawk flew toward the boy. It flew low, and its wings were spread wide, and when it reached the vicinity of the boy, it swooped and seemed to hold there out in front of him, begging the boy to admire its eloquence, begging the boy to notice something other than himself and his troubles, begging the boy to think of something other than running from that woman. The hawk rose and fell again, and the boy saw it, and his eyes followed the hawk as it turned long and graceful curves in the blue-white sky. From the window, Marianne spied the hawk, and she shifted her eyes from sky to land, waiting to see what the boy would do. The breath she had been holding was let go when the hawk turned toward the house, and the boy followed. Round 1. 1. He passed through Vicksburg at midnight, the dull lights of the non-stop convenience stores and fast food restaurants fading in the rearview mirror as he drove onto Highway 61 and made his way north and into the Delta. The great alluvial plain spanning for thousands of acres, centuries of flooding from the Mississippi River creating deposits of the most fertile soil in the world, soil that for generations had made many rich and many more poor. Hundreds of flat miles, haunts of slaves and soldiers. A land of the forgotten, covered by boundless skies. Between his legs, a pint of wild turkey. Between his fingers, a skinny wood-tip cigar. In the cup holder, a gas station cup of coffee. On the passenger seat, an open plastic bag with 24 red pills that killed the pain. His eyes scattered and alive, and his cigar hand tapping the steering wheel to the stiff metal beat from the radio and the thumpity-thump of the uneven highway.